What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Explicit podcast. I'm Corey, and today we have Tim Malcolm from 90 Day Fiancé. This is going to be a part one of two that we're going to do. I talked to Tim for over 3 hours the other day, and for the first half, we talked about 90 Day Fiancé, his life out away from the camera, what he does. And then the other half, we talked about movies and games and stuff that we actually found that we had a lot in common. So this first part is just going to be about 90 Day Fiancé. We talk about the tell-all. We talk about his thoughts on Jesse and Jennifer dating. We talk about other cast members in 90 Day Fiancé, how he got on the show, what his life is like being a reality star on a very popular show that I and my fiance Corinne love to watch. It's a guilty pleasure, but it's nice to talk to these people because you only see them in a certain light most of the time. So this is a great way to really get to know these kind of people. He's actually a really great guy, really nice. Me and him actually played some video games together. He's a real cool dude. So don't just believe everything you see or hear in the media or on TV. Judge him for what you hear or see on this podcast if you can, or if you're going to judge them at all. So like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification so you get notified every time I post a piece of content or a video or anything like that. So enjoy this episode of the E4 Explicit podcast with Tim Malcolm from 90 Day Fiancé, part one. Peace out. This episode of the E4 Explicit podcast is brought to you by Bravo Concealment. Bravo Concealment is known for some of the best high quality and concealable holsters on the market. Located in the great state of Texas, they offer free shipping and unlimited lifetime warranty on all of their products, and a 30-day money-back guarantee if you don't like the product. I've been using Bravo Concealment for my gun holsters ever since I got into guns, and the quality is by far, bar none, the top notch in the entire industry that I've seen. And right now they're doing a buy one, get one free, plus free shipping, the 30-day money-back guarantee, and a lifetime warranty. On top of that, you, my friends, will get 10% off of any product, of any purchase on their website by using Explicit10. Use the code Explicit10 and you'll get 10% off your entire purchase from BravoConcealment.com. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the E4 Explicit podcast. Today we have Tim Malcolm. Most of you know him from 90 Day Fiancé. He runs other businesses, but it's Tim Malcolm. I appreciate
Jack of all trades, man.
Yeah,
hey,
dude.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, man. Also, the gun thing. I want to talk about that in a little bit, but that shit was awesome. I'm a big gun guy. I actually lived in Charlotte, right near you guys, for a couple years.
Wow.
Right outside of Waxhaw. Yeah.
Our house was in Weddington, so it's
that's
technically Waxhaw. Yeah,
that's where I was in Weddington. But then
that's where we filmed Pillow Dog. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. We were the apartments right behind the Whole Foods right there.
I'm not familiar with, like, I guess you're probably further down Providence, like,
yes. Like right before Waxhaw.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so do you actually go through downtown Waxhaw, like over the railroad tracks? Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, because like where we're at is like really close to the Charlotte line.
Got you.
So, I mean, without giving too much details, because we literally have had people show up to that house and like leave notes and shit. Like,
you're good.
Crazy.
You don't need to say.
So, but yeah, I mean, that was the house that her and I bought together, and she kept it when we broke up. But
nice.
I miss living out that way. In fact, I'm in the market for a house, and I keep looking to go back to either Weddington, Waxhaw, Marvin. That whole area.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Did you like it?
Yeah, we did. We were there for about a year and a half. Because me and my buddies.
What year?
2019.
Okay, so, well, you were here. Like, people don't get it because, I mean, I was born and raised in Charlotte. I'm about to turn 42.
Right.
So, I mean, as a child, Charlotte was like this podunk country town, right? Like, I mean, like, to see that it's now surpassed San Francisco as, I think, the 13th largest city in the United States.
That's crazy.
Crazy to me. Yeah. I mean, it is fucking crazy.
Yeah, we didn't go downtown. We were like, oh, let's just live out here because, like, in the burbs is a really nice area and stuff like that. But no, it was nice. But then we moved. I moved back home to DC. So, yeah, man,
cool,
it was so funny because when I reached out to Veronica a while ago and was talking to her, I was like, oh, you guys are in like Waxhaw. Like, we literally like lived there for like a year and a half, basically. But
man, it's a great area, dude.
It's really nice.
And actually, I mean, if you want to try to find property with land at all, dude, you're not gonna find it in Charlotte anymore. I mean, Charlotte is just, the housing market here is crazy. Yeah. Rental prices are out the roof because a lot of people don't know this, but the Queen City, Charlotte, is either the second or the third largest banking capital in
the
world.
I thought it was the first. When we were there, it was, I think
it may be. I didn't want to say the first and then somebody call me and be like, that guy's full of shit, but it's up there.
It's so top 3, 100%.
I can tell you this. I remember when 9/11 happened, I was 21, I think, but I remember Charlotte was on the list of possible targets of them crashing planes into buildings because the banks are here.
Right.
So they thought they might try to cripple our, financial institutions. So they were evacuating buildings here too.
Oh shit.
But people don't, like I said, a lot of people, if they don't know Charlotte, they don't realize that it's a big city. And it's very transient. So you don't meet a lot of people that are born and raised in Charlotte.
Yep.
It's a lot of New Jersey, New York people now that are down here. But yeah, it's all bankers, man. So there's a lot of money here too.
Yeah. I noticed that too. That's so funny you say that, because when we moved there, we were like, because my buddy lives in he has a couple martial arts school, one in downtown Charlotte and one in what's the K town up north town?
TK.
No, it starts with a K.
Kannapolis.
Kannapolis, yeah. So when we moved there, we're like, holy shit, like this is like this is a pretty big fucking city. I thought it was gonna be much smaller, but it was.
Well, Charlotte, it's weird because like Charlotte has a belt going around it called 45, and you can literally drive around the city in about a half hour if you're not in like super traffic. So it's not a huge city like dimension wise, but there's a lot packed in it.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad as like Manhattan. Like, oh my God, every time I go to New York, I just have anxiety trying to walk through people. But,
it's a lot. Yeah.
The traffic here is starting to get like that though, man. Like it used to be like Fridays at 5 o'clock, you could expect traffic, but now it's all day constant. And I think the statistics I last read was 7,000 people a month are moving to Charlotte right now. There's no houses for sale, and a house that you could buy for $300,000 10 years ago is $1 million or more now. I mean, the prices are really getting insane. It used to be Charlotte was one of the cheapest cost of living cities you could live in. I mean, I think my first house when I bought in 2001, which was like 3,000 square foot, brand new house, was like $150,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so now it's like that. You can't buy shit for under a couple $100,000, and then that's like on the bad side of town. So
right, no, that's because we come from my fiance's from Long Island. I'm from DC, so we come from like really expensive, a lot of traffic. So,
I know DC is expensive.
Man, it's so bad. So when we moved down there, we're like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing. Everything's
one of my best friends is a lawyer in LA, and I was just showing him what kind of house he could get here for like 1.5 million. And to him, it's like, holy shit, I know. Get a mansion there. Like in LA, he's like, dude, that's like a 900 square foot, modular Shack. Home. Yeah. Right. Home. So I'm bitching about the prices still, but it's like, man, other people are like laughing at me like, dude, that's nothing.
Yep. Yeah, that's how it is. We just actually moved to Colorado. So we live in Colorado Springs now. Same thing. I go to Starbucks and they're like, oh, where are you from? Like DC. They're like, oh, the prices here are so ridiculous. I'm like, ma'am, like, you have no idea what the fuck. Just like traffic. I'm like, traffic? Like what? Like, no.
I think Miami and New York, worst traffic I've ever seen for the States.
Oh yeah,
Charlotte is getting bad though, dude. Even probably since you were here, like the last year has really. I mean, dude, I hate if I have Amazon deliver my groceries now. Even like if I don't have to leave my house, I don't. Right. Number one, because people recognize me, especially in Charlotte, because they know that we're here.
That you're from there, yeah.
So if I'm trying to run out real quick and grab something and like, trying to not stand and talk about 90 Day Fiancé for 30 minutes or so, which, I've said that before in interviews and people always take that the wrong way. I love my fans and I love people that are passionate about the show. Unfortunately, for reality TV people, you're living a little bit of a weird life. Like, you're recognized on the street as like a celebrity, but you don't make celebrity money. So you're having to work just like your normal dude.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm 7 days a week, like typically 12 to 15 hours a day. So for me, like if you run into me at Home Depot, or Walmart or some shit, like I'm trying to get the fuck in and get out. Right. Like, so a lot of like, I was at the post office the other day, man, and it never fails. Like I got in and nobody said nothing. I'm like, cool. I'm getting in my car and the car beside me, there was a lady in the passenger seat. And I was in my zone, you know what I mean? So she's like, oh my God. And it scared me. So like like she was so close to me, I jumped, and she's like, "You're Tana," and I was like, "Yeah, like thank you," but I was like in my car, like literally, lady, you just scared the shit out of me, like, you know. But people get super excited, man. Like, which again, I'm a TV and movie guy myself, so like if there's a show that I like or a movie that I, you know, love, and I saw somebody from it, I would geek out too. You know, I'm a total fanboy.
Right. Yeah.
So.
No, I totally get that. Like every time I talk to someone like you, like Kale from Teen Mom, she actually brought up a good point. She's like, a lot of people think I'm like unapproachable, and like she's like, someone tweeted her and said, "Well, I was gonna approach you, but you seemed unapproachable," and it's like, what the fuck? You didn't even come up to me. It's like you don't need, you don't know what you're going through. You don't know what you're doing. Like you said, especially at the post office, I fucking hate going to the post office as a regular person. So it's like,
or DMV,
oh, dude, it's like you're already in a negative mindset when you get in that motherfucker. God forbid someone come up to you and scare you or want to talk to you.
One thing I tell people too is like I've met a lot of actors over the last, even before I was on TV. Like I go to conventions and stuff because I'm a fanboy. So I've been very disappointed before meeting somebody that I idolized from a movie or project they had done, and they were just a complete asshole.
Right.
But after I've been on TV and you know, have experienced what it's like to have some sort of fame, you know, and people recognize you, you have to remember, like, that's a job like anything else. You know what I mean? It's no different than clocking in at Walmart and being a cashier. And you know, I think everybody's entitled to personal time. And again, like I'll give you an example. Every year, my family and I eat Thanksgiving lunch at the same restaurant, and it's actually in Gastonia of all places.
Right.
And you know, like I sat down this past year, and I put my back towards the people because my family thinks it's so cool. You know what I mean? Like, and they don't get that. Like, I just want to be able to sit and enjoy my fucking meal for 30 minutes and not have to talk about something that I, you know, with a stranger. That sounds super ungrateful. And let me reiterate, like, I'm a Charlotte, North Carolina dude. Never thought in a million years I would be on this big TV show. And I understand people would kill to be able to experience that. And I am very grateful for it. I have a great time with it. I've really enjoyed entertaining people. I'm an introvert though, you know, and I'm not a people person, like, and it's nothing personal. It's just, that's my personality. Like, I don't really, you know, I'm the type of guy, I've got like 3 really close friends, but I'm not like, I don't have like friends with I'm like that guy that just has like friends everywhere you go, you know?
Right.
So I have a very small circle, and, you know, like, the mask thing I thought was going to really help me out when they put that in effect. I'm like, man, because I used to fuck with people, like they would come up to me and be like, "Oh my God, has anybody ever told you like Tim from 90 Day Fiancé?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I get that all the time," and I'll just keep walking. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
Like, but like, and I'm that guy. Like, I would stare at somebody from TV and be like, there's no way that's them, and it would really be them.
Yeah, like trying to talk yourself out of it.
But some people, man, like even with the mask on, they will walk up to me as soon as they see me. And sometimes I'll ask them like, "Hey, how did you recognize?" And they'll say, "Well, I heard you." They recognize me from my voice, which I never knew until I was on TV, that apparently my voice is very distinguishable. So, I just never thought that about myself. You know what I mean? So you can't avoid it. Like, I've had some very funny stories happen, but with the Thanksgiving thing, you know, I'm sitting there like finishing up, and like all of a sudden I feel, you know, somebody tap me on my shoulder. Well, something else about me is I'm not like a germaphobe, but I've had COVID twice, and, you know, I didn't enjoy it. I'm vaccinated and all that shit, and still caught it a second time.
Damn.
And when I get COVID, I can't work. So it's like, I'm very careful. Plus, you know, my sister-in-law has been fighting cancer for 2 years, and like, I can't be around her if I have COVID. So you know, it's just, there's multiple reasons. So again, it's like you're sitting there eating Thanksgiving, then you got somebody that comes up and just starts touching you in the middle of COVID.
Hey Tim,
Yeah, and exactly, and it's like, you know, you try your best to be nice because you know that that's their moment that they're gonna go and tell everybody that day. And you know, if you're an asshole to them, you know, you're probably gonna see it online. But the whole point of the long story was that you never know what day that person is having.
Exactly.
And they're just like any other human being. You know, you don't know that right when you saw them, they didn't just hang up fighting with their girlfriend for 20 minutes and are just, or they just got the news that a family member has cancer and is sick. Like you don't know. So I always tell people, just remember, like it's a person, like it's not like a robot. Like it's just like anything else.
No, it's true. It's like they're not like, if people like I'm in a, like I said, I'm a filmmaker and stuff. So like I've seen a lot of famous people. Like like if someone, I have a rule, like if I see someone famous and they're eating, I 100% do not approach them, because like why? I would be fucking pissed if someone would just keep coming up to me. And it always kills me when I see people run to famous people when they're eating meals, and I'm like, guys, like, let them enjoy their meal. Like, you do this every day.
Crazy. On Valentine's Day, this last month or whatever, I ran out to the store. My girlfriend was asleep, and of course I'm that guy. Like, had to go out the day up.
Last minute, yeah.
My schedule is crazy, all right?
Sure.
I was standing inside a store, saw like a elderly lady and husband crossing the street. She fell, busted her head open, and was laying out in the street, just pouring blood from her head.
Shit.
So I ran outside, like trying to help this lady. Ran back inside the store, was like, hey, I grabbed a water, grabbed some wet wipes off the shelf, and was like yelling at the cashier, like, I'll be back to pay for it. Like, I'm not stealing it. And literally, as I was crossing the street to go help this lady, a guy fucking grabbed me and asked me to sign an autograph for his fucking wife. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? And like, it took every bit of self-constraint I had to not scream at the guy. Like, do you see this? Oh, I mean, there was blood everywhere. Like there was some other people trying to help. They had already called the paramedics, but I was the one that went inside to try to get something to like put over the wound. Her husband, like, I felt so bad for him. And it's fucking Valentine's Day. Like, husband and wife just going out, super old, probably in their 70s, maybe even 80s.
Right.
And I'm just kind of like, are you like really like,
do you not see this?
It's just the worst time. I mean, it really just upset me for that couple of like how insensitive, but again, it's just, I think people see you and they're just afraid that you're going to disappear and they don't get their chance.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, I even told the guy when he said that, I'm like, yeah, I'll come back in a minute. Like, let me help here first. And I did. I actually went back and signed his fucking, it was like a receipt. Like it's so funny what people want you to sign, right? Because it's not like they're carrying around pictures of like D-list reality stars in their backpack, right? So it's like like a Dollar General receipt or some shit. Like, will you make this out to Susie? And I'm like, sure, buddy. Are you gonna fucking frame that? Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, man. So it's and to be honest with you, the culture's changed a lot. So like when I was a kid, you wanted an autograph. Now everybody just wants a fucking picture to put on their social media. Yeah. So I rarely get asked for autograph. I think it's so funny when people ask me for an autograph because I'm just like, really? Like, I'm a fucking reality dude. Like, I'm not a Johnny Depp here.
Yeah, it's like The Rock. Like,
the picture I get though, because like anybody famous I see, I'd want to put a picture and be like, guess who I ran into? Right. You know what I mean? Like, I get that, but the autograph shit, like, I don't think anybody's selling that on eBay for more than about 86 cents. So, it's like, dude, what the fuck, man? I mean, that's just so old school, man.
He said 86 cents.
Yeah, like, I don't even think it'll sell for that, right? Like,
sells for one crypto coin or some shit.
Yeah. Hey, if anybody wants my autograph and want to give me crypto, I'll be happy to send them some shit.
That's too funny. Holy shit. All right. So we spent 30 minutes talking about Charlotte. Okay. All right.
It's all right. I'm having fun, man.
Yeah. Oh no, I love this. Is great. That's so funny. Okay, I do want to talk about some stuff. I don't want to, honestly, dude. I literally, was it last night? I watched the tell-all of you and Veronica with Jesse and Jennifer. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I've never liked Jesse. I'm not. You don't have to say anything negative about him. You don't have to.
Well, I can't talk about the tell-all at all. But I can talk about Jesse because him and I had an issue on my tell-all, which was years ago now. But anything that's current, I can't talk about. Okay. So I during my season, like before the 90s season 3, which was the first time I was ever on TV, right?
Yep. When you went to Columbia.
I went to Columbia, right? Yeah. Then did that whole thing. Well, I like literally when I found out Darcy was on my show, I was very excited because when I was still in a relationship with Veronica, when we were still a couple, I remember watching 90 Day Fiancé season 1 with Veronica, and then before the 90 Day season 1, you know, and we watched those shows, right? So Darcy, to me, I don't know, was like a real star, you know, like, and if you ever see her in person, like she's just one of those people who, like, when you see her, she just looks famous, right? Like, I'll never forget, like, when we filmed the tell-all, Darcy, me, and Tom Brooks all went out in Manhattan, like Times Square. And you would have thought I was with fucking Michael Jackson. I mean, by that, we had been on TV like 4 weeks, me and Tom. So Darcy kept telling people like, hey, this is Tim and Tom from the show. And nobody gave a fuck. But I mean, people were coming up to Darcy like crazy. And to be honest, Darcy is a lot like me. Like, she loves her fans, but she's not like really into it for the fame. Right. You know, so she's a little bit shy, to be honest. Like, and we thought it was so cool. Like, we were like, oh my God, like, you know, why are you? Because she was like hiding in stores and shit, like trying to avoid it. Yeah. And we didn't understand. Well, you fast forward like 6 months later, and it's really strange, like, because I remember being at the tell-all and talking to the entire cast. I'll get back to the Jesse shit. I know I'm kind of getting off the field. You're good. And we were all telling each other, like, if we had been recognized yet or not. And like, there was only one person besides Darcy that had been recognized, and it was Avery, with Avery, the Muslim Avery. Okay. And I had like seen a couple of Twitter posts where like somebody was like, I'm sitting beside Tim at the airport, but nobody had approached me, right? Right. So we were just thinking like, oh my God, it'll be so cool if somebody recognizes from the show. And then it's just like, for the first 4 weeks, it never happened. And then it's like overnight, about midway through the season, it's just so strange how then you leave your house and like everywhere you go, somebody stops you, especially at airports and places of like large gatherings. But anyway, I was really good friends with Darcy, and we hit it off really well. And like, you know, we exchanged numbers, and we were talking a lot, like just personally about stuff. And, you know, we had a lot in common. So, and I hit it, and me and Tom Brooks were really good friends at the time too. And of course that was her boyfriend. So, you know, I had kind of known, you know, some things that happened on screen and off screen about her and Jesse. So like, I just didn't like him because I was such a good friend with Darcy at the time. Right. Makes sense. You know, when the little confrontation at the tell-all happened or whatever, and then like fast forward a couple of years and somebody tells me like, do you know Jesse is with Jennifer? And I was just like, well, like, didn't know. That doesn't surprise me, like, you know, whatever. So yeah, I don't have a habit of trying to pick fights with the cast. No. You know, but I also am not a pushover. So when I've been attacked by cast members in the past, I have for sure, you know, defended myself and attacked back. Right. And with him, like, I've just never liked him. Yeah. Never. No, I'm the same. I'm right there with you. I just feel like, and I know you can't really talk about the tell-all and stuff like that and the recent stuff, but I mean, how did it make you feel though when you saw them together and you were like, I know at that time it's been like years, right? Yeah, like or at least a year. B90, it premiered August, I think, of 2019. So we're almost approaching 3 years since it aired. And remember, we filmed that 6 months before it hit TV. Right. So, I mean, yeah, we're talking, it's been 3 years ago. I mean, I've had the same girlfriend for over 2 years now. Right. So, you know, I always have tried to be nice about Jennifer, especially in interviews in public, and never trashed her. But, you know, when they asked me to do the tell-all, and I said, sure. I mean, like, you know, whatever. I mean, it's part of the deal, right? Like, people were introduced to me with Jennifer, so that'll be a part of my story forever. No matter forever, right? Like, because that's who I originally did the show with. We just didn't work, and you know, I always try to tell people, like, you don't have to hate your exes. No. You know, but like, I don't think she shares the same sentiment. Right. You know, she definitely I don't know why, like she is mad at me, I guess, about something. I don't know. To be honest with you, it didn't bother me at all to see them together because I don't have, you don't care, those type of feelings for her anymore.
Right. No.
You know what I mean? And like we never like lived together or like
wasn't like that serious, if that makes
right.
sense.
Like I mean, again, long distance dating is very different. I mean, it's a weird attachment you form with someone. It's not the same as when you're in the same city, you're seeing each other regularly, you may live together. So it hurts, don't get me wrong. Like, it's like going through a breakup, but it's still, I don't know how to put it into words, a little bit different than like what I just described, like when you're together, in the same country, like, so that one, when that ended, it was not really that long before I met my current girlfriend.
Right.
Because actually, I think B90 was still airing, and I met my new girlfriend. So, because remember, we had filmed it 6 months earlier. So I want to say we may have been broken up. I really don't even remember, man. It's been so many years.
I was gonna say you probably broken up before it even aired, maybe.
Before it aired, yeah, it may have been. Like I don't remember, because after I came back, it was a month or 2, 3 months maybe before some things happen, and we didn't really break up at first, but we just kind of like stopped talking for a while, and then it was just kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
So Jesse and Jennifer, I feel like are
match made in heaven, bro.
Match made in heaven, man.
Dude, honestly, I like I always thought Darcy was kind of, I've been wanting to talk to her forever since I first saw her, but she's always been like kind of just like you said, kind of like the up here, and then a lot of like her. There's a couple other ones that I'm just like are like just get more notoriety.
I've lingered around. I'll say that, man. Like I've been fortunate, because after B90, I thought my TV days were done.
Which is as a lot of that happens to everybody, pretty much. So
yeah, like when you're filming a tell-all, you think this could be your last time, right? So they asked me about Pillow Talk. Asked me who I'd want to do Pillow Talk with. I told them Veronica, and I knew me and Veronica would be good at it. But also, you got to remember, it's hard to think back 3 years ago. But 3 years ago, people hated me and Veronica. Like the edit that we got on B90 was not in our favor. So I was getting drugged through the media. So they gave us a green light to shoot a couple episodes for Pillow Talk, and then at like the week before they were supposed to come and film, they canceled, and we ended up not being on that season. So it was like, oh shit, I really thought I was done then, And I think maybe like 5 or 6 months later, they called us and said, okay, we're filming another season and we're gonna put you on. So we got a 2-episode deal. And they do that, I guess, to like try you out and see. Yeah. And man, I remember we filmed it, and I can't remember if it was like a couple months or whatever that it took them to get out there or whatever. But the reviews came out online, and oh my god, people trashed the living shit out of us. And me and Veronica both were like, we're never gonna work in TV again.
What?
Nobody liked us on Pillow Talk, right? Like, yeah, it was horrible. But it's because they were basing their opinions on what they still knew from B90.
Right.
But see, the thing that's great about Pillow Talk is that there's a lot less editing, and you get to really be yourself. Right. You're in the comfort of your home. You're not out of your element in another country. Like, so they saw that we had a really good dynamic, and that we could play off each other well, and that we could be funny, or whatever. And they let us keep going, and slowly but surely they hedged a bet on us, and it panned out well for them, I think, because I think there's some talented people on Pillow Talk, but I definitely think that Veronica and I bring an element that
you guys are fucking hilarious, dude.
Yeah, our sense of humor, I think, is just very unique, and if you get it, it's great. But some people don't like the dry, deadpan, humor. But it's still weird though, because like, I'm filming all the time with my ex-fiance.
Yeah.
Right. So that's still kind of weird, but
well, like you said, it's not like it's not weird for you guys. It's weird for other people that don't understand. Oh, you don't have to fucking hate everybody that you've ever been with.
Yeah, no, it's not weird for us, although I understand why it's weird for everybody else.
Oh, for sure.
Because definitely in this society, like it's usually a red flag if you have exes that are as close as Veronica and I.
That is true.
So it definitely has been something that's caused relationship problems with Veronica and different men she's dated, and it's definitely been an issue for me as well, where just there's always that little bit of doubt from your partner that, well, you're spending a lot of time with your ex, and, y'all are talking on the phone all the time, and, whatever. But it's really strange, man. Like, I always tell people, like, at one point, I was deeply in love with Veronica, and I think Veronica was deeply in love with me. We raised a child together. We lived like we were married, even though we never actually were. We were engaged for like 6 years or something,
Right.
But she was 23 when I met her. I was 28 years old, and like I said, I was turned 42. So, we've matured, and as we've matured, we are great friends, but neither one of us is interested at all. I mean, I always tell people I look at Veronica more like a sister
right
now.
Yeah.
So I don't look at her the same way other men do, in a lust way, or anything like that. So for me, it's laughable when I see somebody concerned about it, because I know in my mind that, like, they really don't have anything to worry about, but I can understand why they do.
Right. Yeah. Because it is rare. It is kind of like if I was so close to my ex of 10 years, I promise you, my fiance would have a problem with that. And I
tell my girlfriend the same. I tell her, like, look, I would not be thrilled if you worked with your ex.
Right.
Like, I get it, but, like, but one thing I do is, if my girlfriend's ever around me and, like, I need to talk to Veronica, put it on speaker. Like, I've introduced her. Again, I try to be as open as
transparent
possible.
with it. Yeah,
exactly. I don't delete text or anything, sketch. So, again, if we're talking, it's about one of two things. Like, we're either talking about Chloe or we're talking about fucking work,
business.
Exactly. So, we were a lot closer. Like, if one of us is single, then usually we'll talk a lot more, just because usually if you're single, that means you're heartbroken because you just had a relationship end and you need somebody to talk to.
You got some more time on your hands too. That's for sure.
Right. And she definitely, I mean, like, me and my current girlfriend now, we broke up for a couple months, like a year ago, and I was devastated, and Veronica was there for me, and helped me get through that. So, we got back together and now we're good.
Right.
But, it's very nice to have somebody that knows you,
That's true.
And knows you better than anybody, right? Because, like, I was with Veronica a very long time, and shit, now, I mean, I think I've known Veronica since 2008.
Right. So known her for a long ass time. Yeah.
I mean, it's rare to keep friends that long, what I mean?
For sure.
So,
yeah.
And we've been through everything together. I mean, there's nothing we don't know about each other. So
well, I think that's like it's rare, but it's good. It's nice when you see it actually happen, and it's not just it's like because most not most, but a lot of situations that I've seen in my personal life where an ex knows an ex or they're tight or whatever, there's always been like oh well, I don't have a girlfriend right now, so I'm just gonna fuck her. You know what I mean? It's kind of that's how it's kind of always been. So I can see why people would think that with you. But honestly, I've actually never, like, me and my fiance Corinne, we talk about Veronica, and when we do, we literally are like they're just friends. Like it's completely
it's platonic.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You could totally
never
tell.
see any like weird like
you don't. That's right.
Flirtatious like
no.
I couldn't even take it seriously. I mean, again, it's very strange, but she is the one on this earth that I have a lot of men that write me to my social media asking if I'll help, hook them up with Veronica and stuff. And they're just always like, oh my God, Veronica is so pretty. So how could you ever?
Right.
And it's so weird when they say it to me because I don't look at her like that. Like, and I think a lot of people call bullshit on that, but it's the truth. Like, she could walk by me naked and it just like it just be like if you saw your fucking mom naked, it's like, oh, like put your clothes on. Like, again, and I mean, I'm not saying that Veronica's not attractive, but it's just, again, for me, it's not like that.
You don't see her like that anymore. No.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, I actually totally believe you. I don't think it's bullshit at all. Just the way you guys interact. And honestly, to keep it going this long, if it wasn't that way, oh my God, like you would have been exposed by now. There's no way.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, there was a lot of rumors going around when I first did TV, like, oh, Tim and Veronica used to be married. They found like a article I wrote like back in 2003 or some shit. Like, I used to write a movie column when I was like in my 20s.
Oh, nice.
And I was telling a story about meeting Tony Todd, the Candyman dude.
Yep.
And Veronica was with me. So I referenced her as my wife in that article because I used to just call her that, like, because we had been together for so long and been engaged, and people like found that article and was like, see, they were married, he's lying, and,
Jesus
and I'm
Christ.
like, dude, check the fucking court records, like you're never gonna find a marriage license for me. So like, I don't like, it's so funny that people think they have caught you, and I'm like, when you have the proof, then post it. Until then, shut the fuck up.
I know people go crazy lengths to try to.
I'll tell you, man, 80% of the shit I read about myself, and I like my first year on TV, I Googled the shit all the time. Now I usually only catch like if a family member or somebody sends me something, like I just don't even care anymore.
Right.
And but man, I tell you what, that really taught me how much bullshit is published about little old me. I can only imagine about big people or big things. I mean, it's so much bullshit of just like, where the fuck did you even come up with that?
I know. Yeah. The tabloid stuff is crazy.
Fake news is a real thing.
It is. Yeah. I just talked to the guy I was talking to before was a journalist for USA Today. And he's like very left, and he got me down a rabbit hole, fucking conspiracies. And I'm like, dude, like, I can't, because he doesn't believe anything. He believes Epstein killed himself. He believed 9/11 was true. And I'm not going to go down that road with you, but we were talking about propaganda and media, and it's nowadays, it's like, it's not if you're right, it's if you're first. You know what I mean? Like if you just put that article out there.
Well, let me tell you real quick. I love conspiracy theories. I just don't like talking about them on a video. So if you ever want to talk off the air,
shoot your text.
I love it. I love it. Like I tell you, like I love watching documentaries, especially like the Philadelphia experiment.
Dude.
I got into the 9/11 stuff, but that's really actually not one of my favorite ones to. I'm trying to think like what I've spent a lot of time on. I spent a lot of time on like the original moon landing, like Operation Fishbowl.
That's why I talked to an astronaut. I was like, I gotta talk to a fucking astronaut. And I talked to one, and she's like,
yeah, well, like that one is okay, right? Like, if you're watching this, you don't know what Operation Fishbowl is. Like,
Google it.
I think it's the Van Allen belt, right?
Yeah,
like, that the people that are conspiring saying that we never actually made it to the moon say that we never had the technology to leave the Van Allen belt. So I think it was back in the 50s or 60s. We were just nuking the sky, right? Like trying to penetrate this belt to get our rockets out, and that's verified. Like that really happened.
Yeah.
So
Stanley
there's a lot
Kubrick.
of shit. Yeah. There's a lot of shit that ends up becoming true that, a lot of people thought. Now, I don't think the earth is flat. Like I'm not that
You're not a flat earther too?
Nah, I'm not a tinfoil hat wearer or flat earther, but if you look at conspiracy theories from an entertainment standpoint as storytelling, these people are creative as fuck.
So creative, dude.
So even if you're not believing, I don't think there's nothing wrong with going down the rabbit hole and entertaining yourself with the ideas that people come up with. Because these are guys that should be in Hollywood instead of copying movies and just remakes. Hire these motherfuckers to come up with some new scripts, right? Like they are fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I agree with you. The guy that I interviewed before, I found him on the documentary on Hulu called "Who Killed Epstein." He was interviewed for it because he did a lot of the Lolita Express investigation. So his plane that he flew everybody on, the transcripts of Bill Clinton and Bill Gates, Donald Trump and stuff.
I think I watched that documentary.
Yeah, his name's Chris Mogg. He was on.
Is that the one that focused on Epstein's woman too?
Yeah, they talked about Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah. Her. Yeah. I think I watched that. I've been watching the Fire Festival ones.
Oh, dude.
Those
That's
are great.
So good. I love the both the
Netflix Hulu and the Netflix
Hulu.
one is really good. Yeah,
they're both really good. The fucking idiots.
I love documentaries, especially the older I get, man. I'm like, it's funny with age, man, your taste changes so much. That's why you saw your grandparents watching the news all the time. And it's happening to me. I gotta admit, man, like I got the news on every fucking morning. And my girlfriend is a lot younger than me, so she always is like making grandpa jokes and shit. Like, oh my God, you watching the news, grandpa? And it's funny because I remember watching my grandparents do the same shit. But like as you get older, you start giving a fuck about a lot of this shit that you didn't give a fuck about when they were trying to teach it to you in school, right? 100%. So like I love history now, but it was boring as fuck to me when I was in school. And I've been watching a lot of I recently watched the show Vikings. right?
Yeah.
Which I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, and people had told me about Vikings, and I just never got onto it. But I saw Netflix just released like a new Viking show, and I was like, well, I want to watch that, so let me go back and watch the original. And oh my god, now I'm obsessed with
Is it
Viking
good?
shit. Oh, it's phenomenal. Yeah.
And is it accurate, like historically accurate too?
I mean, some of it is, yeah.
Right.
They've obviously dramatized it, and told some things out of order, and a couple of the
Typical.
battles
Yeah.
actually were won by the other side. But they did have. Actually, it's funny. One of my Pillow Talk producers produced a season of Vikings, so I got to ask her.
Oh, cool.
All kinds of questions because she was on set, like in I think it's Ireland or one of those countries where they always film the battle scenes for movies and shit. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, man. No, the show is great, but it's gotten me down this rabbit hole, and that's how I am. Like I'll get fixated on one thing just crash course it for the next 3 weeks. Like while I'm working every morning, I got a YouTube video on. Like I watched Joan of Arc yesterday. I started watching shit about the Crusades today. And it all came from Vikings, right? Like now I'm 600 years back before the Viking shit, but like I wanted to know how we get
here. Yeah. So I'm the same way.
Fascinating, man. Like you can really get lost in that shit. And I'll say this, just like on Egypt shit, you could spend a year.
Bro,
like there's so many mysteries and fucking unknowns about Egypt, and man, we are getting all over the place.
We are. I don't even care. Yeah, about 90 days. It's whatever. I mean, you can't even talk about the stuff that like the current stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know who Graham Hancock is?
No, huh?
Holy shit. He's the one. He's been on Joe Rogan a couple of times. He's the one that is doing what they're doing called LiDAR in the Amazon. So they're doing these flyovers and lasering the Amazon, and they're finding these old civilizations deep in the Amazon that are basically like they're obviously extinct. And then they did tests on the soil of the Amazon, and it's man-made soil. It's not natural. So people that and they just found Australian DNA in the Amazon.
Wow.
It dated like thousands of years before like there was any transportation available.
Well, crazy. Yeah, that's what I was watching recently about Egypt. Like there's a big discrepancy in like time, right? Like I don't think they really have a fucking clue, right? Like what we've been taught. I think now that technology is getting so good, they're discovering that a lot of what they thought was
like with the pyramids being built.
Exactly. Yeah. Things like that. Like, and it all goes down to, and I'm not gonna dive into this subject much, but a lot of this shit people don't want to come out because it challenges religion.
Oh, for sure.
And I think religion in itself, I mean, just if you start researching all about the Vikings and Crusades, most of our world, every major conflict has gone back to differences in religion or religious beliefs. And I think one of the documentaries I watched actually was talking about how there's a lot of proof that a lot of shit that we know as fact is not, but like the fucking where's the Pope at?
Like the Romans,
they fight to keep those
the Catholic Church.
Yeah, the Catholic Church. Yeah, which, like I said, I don't have an opinion. If you're Catholic, hey, I don't take sides with religion or politics.
Yeah.
So, but again, we're just talking about documentaries here.
Yeah, you guys, we're just talking about.
They believe that the Romans or Catholic Church or whatever is trying to keep some of that stuff from really making any big media or anything, because it just challenges some of the things that they would like to keep the same.
Right, it could be. I mean, I've always how they built the pyramids, dude. How that even happened. It's like they couldn't even build them today if they wanted to.
I watched something similar with them saying like even with the tools we have today, like
it's too perfect.
And the tools that these guys had back then were like, even they were sophisticated for the time, but like, still that time was a very crude. But yeah, man, it's super interesting stuff. I mean, I did the Bermuda Triangle rabbit hole. I did space. Oh my God, like. You can really get lost in
Bohemian Grove. You know about that? Bohemian Grove.
What is it?
It's a place. It's a real place in California where apparently a lot of the elites will meet. There's a reporter a couple of years ago went there and actually like infiltrated with Alex Jones before he kind of went off the Sandy Hook thing. But that shit's crazy because like that's a true place. That's a real place that like actual like Bill Gates, Obama, sitting presidents go there and they come together and they all discuss things.
Well, that sounds kind of like the Freemasons. And,
yeah, Freemasons.
all that shit. Yeah, like my grandfather was actually a Freemason. And I didn't know that until I was at his funeral and they showed up. But I never knew. I mean, he never told us. So
they kind of don't really. I mean, your family's
divulge
one thing.
it, yeah,
they don't really
but
divulge it.
I mean, I was shocked. I thought I knew everything about my grandfather. You know, so it's crazy, man. Like I said, I love it. But people are so sensitive today, man, that like you can't even talk about shit and entertaining contests without somebody getting offended. So
I know you got to watch what you say. That's why I got banned on TikTok, my first account, because I was talking about some Freemason shit, and they're like, "Wow, this is not real," and I'm like, "Okay, like I'm just talking about it. I'm not like promoting it like it's a real thing."
Well, if you ever do TV, I always tell like new cast members that reach out to me like, "Hey, what should I expect?" Whatever, I would tell them like, just don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion, you'll be fine.
Right? Yeah, like, seriously.
That is the two subjects. No matter what you say, you're gonna piss off a bunch of people. 50%. So yeah, I don't need it. You know what I mean? Like, and people ask me sometimes, and I'm just like, dude, there's no fucking way I'm answering that because the backlash I'm gonna get is not worth the satisfaction you're gonna get from my answer.
Exactly.
So it's the world we live in, man.
Oh, I know, dude. It canceled real quick. Let me see here. So what do you? I'll just ask you one more question. Get out of here. What are you doing now? Like, you have a girlfriend of 2 years. Like, what's up with that? Like, what are you doing now?
Well, you wanted to talk about the gun business.
Oh yeah. What happened with that?
Well, so like I'm a North Carolina dude, right? So I was raised around guns. Like, I think my dad took me to shoot guns when I was 8 or 9.
That's why I got into guns. I went to point blank range. And they were amazing. And I'm like, wow, I thought every gun toting redneck was this person, was this like type of, and I fell in love with it.
Well, there's a stereotype about the South in general, like, but Charlotte is a very sophisticated city. Like, we're not hillbillies like a lot of people think. They're on the outskirts. There's a bridge that you can cross 30 minutes from here that is like you time warped 40 years back, but like my grandparents owned a pawn shop, and my mom worked there part-time, but she was a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids. And, after school, she would like take me there with her to finish out the day. And of course there was a bunch of guns there. So like when you're a young boy, like, you were watching like back then, we had the best movies in the 80s, like Terminator, Predator, and Aliens, and all these gun movies, like, right. So I was always interested in guns, and I enjoyed shooting guns. So at some point, like, I started collecting really high dollar firearms, in like $15,000 to $30,000 a piece range. And I was with Veronica at the time, and our money was together. So I started buying tons of guns, and we was always a fight. So I decided I was going to start selling guns to pay for the guns I wanted to buy, and turned it into a fucking business that actually ended up doing, fairly well. But when Trump got elected, which a lot of people don't believe me when I tell them this, Obama was the best gun salesman we ever had. I mean, the gun businesses, the last 2 years Obama was in office, made more money than they probably ever had in their time as a dealer. So when everybody thought Hillary was going to win, I mean, you could name your price for any gun or even ammunition. I mean, and it was sold out everywhere, right? Well, then Trump won, and they're like, well, shit, we've got a Republican in office for 4 years, so we don't have to worry about assault rifle bans or high capacity magazine bans. And like the prices just nosedive,
tanked.
$1,500 AR-15s within a week of Trump getting elected was $400. Wow. I knew people that had bought pallets of ammunition and 100 ARs just because they were going to flip them once Hillary won, right? So people were getting stuck with all this shit. People were dumping shit. Well, I had to adapt because my business was dying, and this was way before TV, or any other source of income. So I decided that I would start customizing guns, and I bought like a little $1,500 gold plating kit off eBay or some shit, and like started watching YouTube videos, taught myself how to electroplate.
What?
And like slowly but surely, like upgraded tanks, and started being able to do shit. And then I decided I want to start engraving, so I bought a fiber optic laser engraver, and I did the custom gun thing for a long time, but I'm one of those people, man, like I get super into something and I give it my best. And then when I feel like I've reached my peak and that there's really nowhere else for me to go with it, I get bored.
Right. I'm the same
way.
So
when the quarantine hit, I decided that I was going to teach myself something new. And while everybody was watching Tiger King, and all the other bullshit shows.
I just interviewed Carol Baskin couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm sure that was interesting.
It was.
And I watched the shit, right? Like I'm not gonna lie, but while people were sitting around binge watching Netflix during the quarantine, I spent that time learning crypto and NFTs and like really dedicated like 6 to 8 months of just making that shit my life. And I've done very well with it. So it's made me more money. Actually, I've made more money in the last year than probably the last 7 years with guns. So I just launched my own crypto project. It's called Degen Finance. And I've got an NFT project that me and Avery have been working on for a while that I don't know when it'll come out, but we actually have a much better celebrity than us. That's like a real celebrity, Right. And their lawyer, dealing with entertainment lawyers, man, is like, it's a fucking nightmare. So we got hung up on one of the stipulations of the contract, and then Avery got into a wreck in December that she got a bad concussion from. So that kind of slowed us down some. And now she actually lives in Charlotte.
What?
Yeah, I haven't even I've never met Avery in person, and we're business partners, right? But she lives 30 minutes away from me now. I've just been so busy, I haven't even had a chance to go and actually get to shake her hand and hang out with her in
person. That's crazy.
But, yeah, I know, man. We met and just started talking, and she was interested in crypto too, and we had a group chat with me and her and a couple of my other crypto friends. We were all trying to help each other, and we became good friends that way, and then an opportunity came up to start a business, and Second Life Ventures, that's my it's a crypto business, but it's not like a coin. It's I use that because I teach crypto classes on Zoom, and I help people that want to get into crypto learn, and I do private Zooms with people, so they can hire me to set shit up or help them do something. But I also do big classes too.
Right.
So I sell the services on the website, but also we're an investment firm where if a project that we're interested in wants us to help them do something in the metaverse or something. So I've got that going, but this the crypto coins that I've got that I just launched is kind of what I'm focused on. And actually I've kind of stepped away from guns at the moment. I mean, I'm still a licensed dealer. And I still have some guns that I'm working on, but that's not
it's not the primary.
It's focus. Not my primary right now, man. I'm telling you, I really think crypto is the future, man. I just think that we are going to see crypto take over.
Can I tell you something about, can I tell you a quick crypto story?
Oh, yeah, cool.
So in 2013, I was living in DC at the time, and this is before Bitcoin was
really popping.
I mean, it was dollars. So a friend of mine who is a friend now, but at the time I didn't know who he was. His name's David Fuchs. He's a filmmaker and an artist from LA. He was coming to DC to do interviews about a documentary called Bit by Bit. And he was doing interviews to lobbyists and politicians about Bitcoin and the blockchain. And actually in DC, where we're the first companies that came out with the ATM, the Bitcoin ATMs. Mm-hmm. And they were just starting to create them and make them. And we were interviewing these people. So my fee was $5,000 for 2 days of filming. And he's living in DC, I'm I got bills to pay, right? I want cash. He's like, look, Corey, I'll give you 5,000 Bitcoin. And I'm like, I didn't know what Bitcoin was until we started filming. And I'm like, fuck no, bro.
You don't even have to finish the story. I know the pain that's about to come out of your mouth.
It gets worse. So I said, no, give me 5,000, whatever. Of course, I run through that in a month and a half. Movie comes out, it does well at Sundance, it does well at South by Southwest, it kills it, right? So we become really good friends, and then he of course he has all this Bitcoin, and then a couple years later, years later, he hits me up for Bit by Bit 2, and he's like, hey man, I need you to come to Miami. Of course, he moved from LA, bought a beach house in Miami, drives a white G-Wagon, has a fucking Ferrari, all this stuff. And I'm like, how'd you get your money? He's like, oh, I sold all my Bitcoin. And then from the time he was going to give it to me to the time I did bit by bit too, I think it was like $250 million or something of what I would have had. Because at that point it was 50 grand a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It's been as high as like 67,000 a Bitcoin. I similar story. My brother is very good with computers. He was on the internet before the internet existed back when it was BBSs, you know, and the original people that really knew about crypto was like your black hat, like there was people buying illegal shit online. Is really
the blockchain was like, yeah, exactly.
You know, they ordering like prescription drugs from over other countries and shit. But my brother mentioned, because I've always been an entrepreneur, and he was like, hey, you should buy this shit. And he like explained it to me as this invisible money. And I'm like, why the fuck would I?
That's what I said.
What, like, it sounded like the dumbest shit I've ever heard, right? Like, and it was 75 cents a Bitcoin at that time. So $200 investment, right? I would be a multimillionaire today. And that has haunted me. It was the biggest financial mistake I ever made in my life, right? Because at the time, a couple $100 to me was not a lot of money. You know, to some people that are struggling, a couple $100 is like a lot. But at the time, I spent $200 on Call of Duty skins, right? Like, you know, it's like, you know, I mean, and I'm not a rich guy, but I'm fortunate, you know, I'm good, right? Like I still have goals and ambition and want to be much better than I am, but I understand that, like, I'm thankful for what I have, right? So many people are struggling, and that's one thing that you learn when you start dating foreigners is the misconception about America, right? Like, people think Americans are so rich, and like I think I read like a year ago, like, if you have $20 in your pocket and no debt, you're richer than 50% of Americans. Like, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
We're a very debt-ridden country. Like, everybody has to have nice shit, but we just finance everything, right? So you know, I had fucked with stocks before I lost I sucked. Right? Like, stocks are just not my thing. And you know, I like, you can't name a business avenue that I haven't dabbled in at some point, like legal shit. Like, I never like sold cocaine or anything, you know, but like, I think at one point I was even selling like women's cosmetics. Like, I'm a born salesman. Like, I used to run flea market tables when I was like 10 years old. I've just always been a hustler. So you know, I always had that in the back of my mind. And then I got a little bit of money, and I was like, you know, I need to invest this, because you get that fucking statement every year from your bank account. And it's like, I waited to fill out my taxes for $1.72 to get my savings interest. You know, it's always just more of a hassle to claim it than what you made. And I have seen inflation. You know, if you haven't noticed the inflation, you're blind.
No, it's there, like, for sure.
It's fucking horrible. And I mean, COVID didn't make that any better. But so I decided, like, hey, let me dabble in fucking crypto. And I'm the type of person that just dives in
all in.
You know, like, I need to get my feet wet. That's how I am. Like, I just need to do it and figure it out. I lost my ass. I bought the dumbest crypto you could buy, and we slid into a bear market like a week after. So, I mean, I think I put like 15 grand in originally, and within a week I had like 6 grand. So I was like, oh my God, like,
it's super volatile.
And I didn't understand the market cycles, right? So like, I started panic selling like an idiot, you know, and that's when I was like, you know what, like, nobody you ever meet that's successful succeeded their first time around.
No.
Right? Like, you have to make some fucking mistakes to be successful. And I tell you what, that was one of my most valuable lessons I ever had. A lot of times my students, I stress that to them, like, you're never going to make a lot of money in crypto until you've lost a lot of money. And just be prepared for that. Like, just go into it knowing you're going to lose a lot of money before you make a lot of money. And if you stick with it and you, you know, follow what I'm teaching you, which what I teach to people is don't trade with emotions. You know, if you're one of those people that can't stand the roller coaster ride and you know it's going to give you anxiety attacks, don't fuck with it, because crypto is so volatile. You know, but patience is the key with it. If you can just hold out, most of the time you won't lose. It'll come back, you know, and maybe even come back stronger. But a lot of people, like, just can't do that, right? Like, it's just not in our nature to be able to watch our money start rapidly going down and not panic. So, you know, I've learned that. And to be honest with you, like, man, I think in December, one of my portfolios was like 200 grand. And I looked today, and I hadn't looked at it in a few years. It's like 68 grand for that portfolio because the market has just like crypto's been getting hammered since January, and the Russia shit has not helped at all. But I made a lot of money in other ways with crypto that like my crypto portfolio, that one is more like long-term investments or shit. Like I'm not day trading or, anything. But it didn't bother me one bit, like I won't lose any sleep over that tonight because again, that 200 grand started out as 50. So I'm still up. It just sucks that I had that money in reach, but like I'm still up from where I started. And being self-employed my whole life, man, like I don't have a 401k. Like, I'm a 1099 dude. Yeah. So like I don't have about that. Health insurance and any employment package. So like when I turned 40, it was in the middle of the quarantine, and 40 didn't really hit me that hard. But for some reason, when I turned 41, I kind of had my like little midlife crisis, right? Like, what the fuck am I doing in my life? Like, I'm supposed to be retiring in, 24 years. And I don't really think I'm quite prepared. And I knew like I needed to do something to be able to save. That's the problem with America, right? Like you can make a good salary. Like, if you work hard enough, it's easy. No, I'm not going to say easy, but it's easier these days to get like a 6-figure job than it was like when I was a kid. But it's just really hard to save money, right? Like because everybody's kind of living a little bit
100%
above their means than they should be because we're keeping up with this culture and society. So, I knew that I needed to be able to make large sums of money to be able to really save large sums of money, right? Like, and I tell you what, I don't think there's a better opportunity right now for that or for a transfer of generational wealth than crypto. And let me be 100% clear, you can lose your ass in crypto. Like if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you will lose money. You can lose everything. It is very risky. But if you put in the time, like I always tell people when they like, oh my God, how did you make all this money in crypto so fast? And I always tell people like, because I ate, breathed, and slept that shit for 8 months. I mean, even when I was walking around my house during that time, I would have my phone in my pocket, listening to a crypto podcast, listening to TNA technical analysis reports. I really put in the work. And that's the thing that people need to understand is you're not going to jump on and just happen to pick one out of 9,000 different coins that's going to do 100x overnight. And that's what a lot of people expect because they've heard these stories. The Shiba billionaire guy, he bought $5,000 in Shiba and now has $1 billion. Like they hear those stories and they think that it's just so easy. Of course, if it were that easy, everybody would do it. So I think crypto is an excellent opportunity for people to learn something new. And I always tell my students, if you leave my class and you don't want to invest in crypto, at least now you know a technology that's coming that you are going to be forced to use in the next 5 years in one shape or form. It's kind of like, dude, I remember at 16 or 17-year-old driving through Taco Bell drive-through, being able to pay with a debit card for the first time.
That's
like I remember that, So cell phones, and that really makes me sound old, right? But like, dude, it's coming. Like digital money is coming. In fact, I know Apple is changing the Apple Pay to where you're going to be able to pay with crypto. It's going to automatically convert it. So they're going to have that integrated into the phones already. You saw El Salvador adopted Bitcoin as their legal currency. And now that's what Russians have been doing, man. They're fucking buying Bitcoin because Russia put that stipulation where they could only pull $20 out of their bank account. It was reported that they're paying $20,000 over value just to get Bitcoin right now because Bitcoin is safe from governments, man. That's what
and the ruble's worthless right now for them too.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of like South America, Central America, the countries that have to really worry about the governments, and their dollars. Venezuela, for example, would be a great candidate. I know Brazil is looking at adopting, but people are learning that like, crypto is kind of off the grid and you have more power. And like, I don't know if you know this, but like when I was doing high dollar guns, sometimes I would need $30,000 or $40,000 in cash to go and buy a collection or something. And if you walk into a bank, even if you had the money in there and you ask them for that, 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you they can't give it to you.
Yep.
You know, you like that. I used to have to order anything over $10,000. I had to order it from the bank, and it would take them 3 days.
I was gonna say they have to prepare. They have to prepare for
yeah,
that
like,
stuff.
and people don't realize that your money is just not sitting in the bank. So, like, if
it's
anything
moving.
goes wrong, you are fucked if all your money's in the bank.
That's
and
true.
I mean, you want to talk about conspiracy theory? Some people watching and be like, "Man, this guy's crazy." Like, my
no,
money's
it's true. That big vault that you see, you know, it's like your money's not just sitting in there. Yeah.
I'm the poorest cash broke guy you ever meet. Like, I keep all my money in crypto.
Right.
You know, I have like hardly no money in the bank, but I have a lot of money in crypto. And, you know, I will continue to do that because I feel like I have control.
Right.
And I feel like, you know, it's just safer. I mean, like, the US dollar is not as safe as it was.
It's not as worth
5 years ago, 10 years ago.
What it was either. No.
Yeah, so I recommend to anybody that's interested in it, you can secondlifeventures.com. You can book me personally. It's me that actually, you know, gets on with Zoom. You. Right. And I you know, people know me on TV for being very like, I call it like it is.
Right.
If you want somebody to coddle you and tell you you're doing a good job when you're not, I'm not that coach.
Yeah.
I'll tell you if you're fucking up real quick. So if you're sensitive, I'm probably not the best guy for you. But if you want somebody that's going to help you make some money, then, you know, I have a lot of students that have just really surprised me that didn't know a fucking thing about crypto that are now teaching me shit.
Oh, shit.
You know, so and a lot of success stories about people that, you know, have actually had a guy write me maybe a month ago. And, you know, I make YouTube videos about crypto projects I'm investing in. And from one of my videos he made, he was able to make enough money to pay off his house in like a week. And this dude, I should print it. He wrote me this beautiful email that it almost made me cry, man. Like, I was just like so touched by this guy. And you could just tell how thankful he was. He was like, man, I never thought I'd be able to pay off my house. And I watched your video and I did what you said. And, you know, I just paid off my house. I think he's 36 years old or something. And he was like, you know, that changed my life. And that's what I always tell people. Like, yeah, you can make some life-changing money, but you can do that in stocks too if you know what you're doing. And I mean, I'm sure there's some other ways, but I just picked crypto because of the story of my brother. And I'm sure you'll always be interested in it because you remember what you could have had.
It's right? Like a bittersweet. Yeah, it's kind of, but you make really good points and all that, because like you said, like, you're a very kind of like straightforward person. Like, you need that, because you're right. A lot of people, especially with stocks too, like when the whole GameStop thing happened, everybody just thought that they were going to go in and go on Wall Street Bets on Reddit and think that, me in particular, think that they were going to pick these things. And I bought GameStop at $350.
I lost my ass on AMC. I'm not gonna lie.
I got AMC, Nokia, all those motherfuckers.
I had BlackBerry and AMC, and I was riding that Wall Street bet train, boy. And I got and the same thing with Dogecoin. Actually, Dogecoin was the coin that taught me the final lesson I needed to know,
not to do.
Right? Yeah, and I'm not embarrassed to say it, because I tell you what, like, I always tell people my successes and I stress to them my failures.
Right.
And I think that's really important when you're teaching, or, you know, like, I'm a leader of a like, my crypto project has a few $1 million of people's money in it. Like, I think that they trust me with their money because they know that I'm very upfront and honest and transparent. Right. Like, I think that's super important when you're dealing with investors' money. And that's the thing, is like, it's kind of good and it's kind of bad, but like, I don't candy coat shit. So like, I don't tell people things are going great if they're not.
Right.
You know, and you take the risk, right? Because a lot of people are used to that. Like, they're used to everybody putting a positive spin on shit. And I took a risk with that, of being as transparent as I am on my YouTube channel and with my crypto project, right? Like, but the feedback I've gotten is that the fan base that I've developed on YouTube, which shockingly enough, finally, most of the people that follow me on YouTube are not from the show. It's not fans of the show. In fact, I get the comment at least once a week of like, oh my God, my girlfriend swears that you're on a TV show. And they're like, somebody that's commented on every one of my videos. They just didn't know, you know?
Right. So now they know you was crypto and not in that, right?
But that's what I want.
I
wanted people that didn't look at me as like this dumb fuck reality TV dude. Like, you know, and that setting for finances, like, it's not a good thing to be on a reality TV show. I don't think people take you as seriously or want to listen to you talk about, investing hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars.
Right. It's like, what do you, yeah, exactly. No, that's not a good pairing.
Because it's so funny that people don't understand that even reality TV is built for entertainment.
100%. I know
they really, and I know you interview a lot of reality people, so they probably tell you the same, but like, reality TV is not scripted, but it's still edited and shown for entertainment. There is not a single program on TV that is 100% organic, authentic, and real, right? Like, there's no, you like literally no matter what show you, or even documentaries and shit, like, I mean, they get really close to being accurate, but I guarantee you, if you nitpicked every one of them,
they're always one-sided. Documentaries are always one-sided. They're not some are not always as open. That's another episode for the E4 Explicit podcast. We'll see you next time.